Busyness has become our way of knowing that we're still alive. We know we're keeping up when we're busy. Productivity has been ingrained in us for so long that seeing a person in a rocking chair on a front porch instantly means that they're out of work or too old or infirm to actually do anything anymore, or just totally lazy. But none of that warrants praise and accolades. We need to change our focus. We need to rest. Welcome to Calm in the Chaos, where understanding a balance of work and rest asks us to adopt new ways of being. People in the workforce today have to work longer hours just to maintain a modest life and are often sleep deprived. Well, what keeps us up at night other than work, work, work? Sometimes physical ailments, emotional worries, or too much caffeine. There are many individual answers to that question. A dear friend of mine has been taking a sleeping pill every night for over 3 decades. An elderly acquaintance takes a sleeping pill alongside anti-anxiety drugs and antidepressants and still finds herself worrying over the details of her life. How can we cope with this lack of rest, this total deprivation of a space where there's peace in our souls? Perhaps we've allowed ourselves to sustain a state of anxiety and busyness and stress for too long. And because our bodies, minds, and hearts are all connected, it takes its toll. We're not really in control of much, and that terrifies most of us. When we were children, we had very little control over what we ate, where we played, who we socialized with, and what we wore. I've observed that the new trend of gentle parenting gives children lots of choices, just about everything in their lives, which can lead to another kind of stress if we're not careful. Children need to know that someone else is taking care of business. Someone else is there to solve problems with them, and someone is there to soothe the physical and emotional boo-boos while they're teaching the child how to emotionally regulate themselves. But they really need to rely on an adult who can set boundaries and not allow the child to be in charge of every decision or to be in danger. As we grew, some of us took on more and more control of our lives until it became a burden. We needed to have more control, perhaps because we didn't have enough of it in our childhoods. It's a delicate balance. However you got to the point that you are today, it's not a bad thing to step back and assess the balance in your life of controlling details and resting. Those two things, they need to balance. I define resting today not so much as an hour in the recliner with Netflix binging, but more of a soul resting, a place where you truly know that things will work out without your having to manipulate the details. A place where the journey is more important than the destination. Resting of the soul. Agreed, resting of the body is what sleep deprivation is all about, but anxiety and worry are what not resting the soul is about. In his first inaugural address, Franklin Roosevelt, the United States 32nd president, said, "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself." Now we, as adults in 2024, may feel differently, and that feeling results in a soul that is always on the lookout, always anxious, and definitely not at rest. Do you ever use the word Sabbath? As in the commandment to keep the Sabbath holy? Well, the word Sabbath, or in Hebrew Shabbat, comes from the word shavat, which means to cease or stop. It's a time to cease the busyness of the heart, body, and mind and give it all a resting place, a soft place to fall. Did you grow up with the phrase, Let it go and let God. I heard that one a lot, paraphrased by my grandmother and other church people. It implies that if we trusted enough that someone else was in charge, remember the comments about raising children with choices a few minutes ago, if we trusted that someone else was really in charge, we could let go of needing to design, plan, manipulate, and control every detail of our, and let's face it, our families' lives. We could relax. We could know that God is in charge. God has a plan. God will take care of business for us, and we can trust that. And sometimes that can be an easy way of relaxing. It can also be an easy way out of taking responsibility for our lives. Again, we're looking at that delicate balance. That works for some people, the let go and let God, and it actually works for me, but in a different way than it worked for my grandmother. I don't think that every detail of my life is worked out and I'm a puppet at the end of God's marionette strings. I don't believe that God told me or made me choose to film this God talk at this particular time, or that God made you watch it at this exact hour. But I do believe that the world is unfolding as it should. I believe there's a system for the universe, not unlike the system of, in human form, of birth, life, death, rebirth, life, death, and so on. Oops, I sneaked in a little reincarnation, didn't I? That's for another day. I believe the world unfolds as it should, with all its ugliness, devastation, beauty, kindness, joy. We're part of an ongoing evolutionary process over which we have no control. You and I did not choose to walk upright, but some of our ancestors were not as vertical as we. You and I still have baby toes and appendixes, both of which have proven to be pretty pointless, but we're links in the long chain of evolution. As part of the world unfolding as it should, I also need to take responsibility and make choices that help the world to progress. You and I are co-creators in the sense that what we do does make a difference. We're part of that unfolding as it should. Our actions, our thoughts, our words are meshed together with so many other factors. We are all how and why the world is unfolding. If we believe that we're part of an enormous flow of history, our souls can relax. Someone else is in charge. If you don't believe in the grand scheme of evolution or God being in charge, you may want to examine the lyrics of the song from the movie Frozen, Let It Go. It's sung by the lead character as she realizes she's been trying to control her behavior to fit what other people wanted her to be. And now she's unfolding as she should. She's dropping the anxiety of pretending, and she's freeing up her soul. Here are the lyrics. The snow glows white on the mountain tonight, not a footprint to be seen. A kingdom of isolation, and it looks like I'm the queen. The wind is howling like this swirling storm inside. Couldn't keep it in, heaven knows I tried. Don't let them in, don't let them see. Be the good girl you always have to be. Conceal, don't feel, don't let them know. Well, now they know. Let it go, can't hold it back anymore. Let it go, turn away and slam the door. I don't care what they're going to say. Let the storm rage on, the cold never bothered me anyway. It's funny how some distance makes everything seem small, and the fears that once controlled me can't get to me at all. She has found her truth, her authenticity. The perfect girl is now gone. Ah, perfectionism, that handicapping characteristic that provides nothing but anxiety. Let it go, let it go, and give your soul a rest. With health experts telling us that sleep is a top priority for warding off disease and obesity, I'm focusing today on the rest for the soul, and I believe it's a top priority for our mental health. Animals take care of themselves very well, sleeping when needed, not trying to push themselves to finish digging that hole by 5 o'clock or to fly to Portugal before November 7th. We could take a cue from the natural world here. Spiritual leaders have taught that resting the soul can be achieved in many ways. Meditation is a calming of the world, a resting place for the soul, and I admit I'm not a good sitter. I never have enjoyed a long meditation where sitting was involved. I'm a walker. Walking meditation is best done with no dog on a leash, no phone, no earbuds. Just put one foot in front of the other. Other ways to achieve a resting place for the soul can be praying with prayer beads, going around a loop of 108 beads with a small prayer at each bead can ease anxiety. It can ground our souls and give us peace. Creating Zentangles are another way to allow our souls a resting place. Zentangles seem to be a sophisticated way of doodling, but they are so much more. I recommend taking a Zentangle class. They're usually about 2 hours long. Another place to rest your soul is coloring. Pick up a set of good quality pencil crayons and a tablet of drawing paper or one of the many adult coloring books on the market. Play music that is soothing. I recommend instrumental music more than vocal, and start coloring. And the way to rest the soul that I read and hear most about focusing on is our breathing. Stop the motion of the body, sit still, and think to yourself as you exhale through the mouth, all fear is leaving my body and mind. And when you inhale through the nose, think to yourself, I am resting my soul. Our souls need rest as much as our bodies do. Both sleep deprivation and soul resting deprivation affect our physical and mental health. We must figure out how to pull back from being driven and give ourselves resting places. We're ending today with a few quotes to ponder. Remember that most anxiety is created from the anticipation of something yet to come. It's about projecting fear into the future. This poem by Ralph Waldo Emerson invites us to stay in the moment, which is how we reduce anxiety. Here's the poem. Write it on your heart that every day is the best day in the year. He is rich who owns the day, and no one owns the day who allows it to be invaded with fret and anxiety. Finish every day and be done with it. You have done what you could. Some blunders and absurdities no doubt crept in. Forget them as soon as you can. Tomorrow is a new day. Begin it well and serenely, with too high a spirit to be encumbered with your old nonsense. This new day is too dear with its hopes and invitations to waste a moment on the yesterdays. Our final quote reminds us that being drawn into an event, a career, a relationship, reflects the gentleness of a soul that is peaceful and at rest. Being drawn into is the opposite of being driven. The words are from Dr. Christine Walters Paintner in her book, The Wisdom of the Body, A Contemplative Journey to Wholeness and Women. She says, being driven is the force of ego imposing its will on others. Being drawn is the soul yielding to its call in the world. Will you pray with me? Slow me down. I'm going too fast. I know I miss the beauty, the moments of divinity, the snippets of joy that are in front of me every day. Let me pull back from being driven and allow myself to walk more slowly through the day so I don't miss opportunities to be of service, to enjoy the radiance of creation, and to send more loving energy into the world. Hear my whispered prayers of gratitude and of concern. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Amen.